Welcome back again. Time to talk about some more grammar. Today I want to explain the ideas explain the ideas that are in chart 19.7. Words that can show an unexpected connection. Your book gives this a slightly different name. In your book it says, showing contrast, unexpected result. And I think the words unexpected connection are better. And if you think about it that way, it'll be less likely to be confusing. But you can also look at the book and see what makes better sense to you. To get an idea of what we mean by unexpected connection, let's take a look at these two sentences. First sentence is, John is very shy. The second sentence is, he has a lot of friends. Now, if I look at these two sentences, John is very shy, he has a lot of friends, I say, oh, that's unusual. He's very shy, so it's not expected that he would have a lot of friends. So, in this situation, I could say, if this is true, then this is unexpected. So if this is true, this is unexpected or something unusual. Usually, shy people don't have a lot of friends because they're shy and they don't talk easily to people. But here, unexpected. John is very shy. He has a lot of friends. Now, there are some words and phrases that you can use in English, and these are handy to use in your writing, that show this connection. They show, oh, if this is true, this is unexpected. So let me show you the first group of words that can be used that way. So let me see, let me get a good color here. So here, we're going to join these two sentences into one sentence. So I'm going to get rid of this period, and I'm getting rid of the word, I'm getting rid of the capital T, capital H. Sorry, I'm getting rid of the capital H, making a small h. So, the first group of words that can do that are, let me give you the first one, even though. And I can say, even though John is very shy, he has a lot of friends. Now, even though is the same family of words as because. What do I mean when I say that they're the same family? You remember that one of the things that we learned is, if because comes in the beginning, then I use a comma. If because comes in the middle, I don't use a comma. And I need to make that so you can see. Hold on just a second. I need to move this back even farther. Okay, I hope that's clear. So, even though John is very shy, comma, he has a lot of friends. I can make the same change that I do with because. And I could go and say, John has a lot of friends, even though he is very shy. If even though comes at the beginning, I use a comma, but when I switch them and I say, John has a lot of friends, then no comma, even though he is very shy. So even though works the same as because. When it comes at the beginning, I use a comma. When it comes in the middle, no comma. Now, there are two other words that your book gives that work the same way as even though. One is although. And the other is just though. And you can usually use these words interchangeably. When I say interchangeably, I mean it doesn't really matter which one you use. They all mean the same thing, and they all work the same way. So all of these words, if they come at the beginning, I have a comma. If they come in the middle, no comma. And they all show, if this is true, then this is unexpected. Okay, I hope that's good. So let's go to the next group of words that can show an unexpected connection. Oh, I want to say one more thing before we go on to that. These words always show that this is unexpected. Some of the words that we're going to look at can be used to show slightly different connection as well. So let me make clear. All of the words we're going to talk about in this video can be used to show an unexpected connection, but some of them can also be used for other meanings. But I'll tell you about that in a little bit. And we'll look at some more of those in the next video. Okay. So even though, although, and though can be used to show unexpected result, and they work the same way. If they come in the beginning, use a comma. If they come in the middle, no comma. The next group of words are, if you've studied fanboys, that's the ones we're talking about. If you want to know the grammar name for the fanboys words, they're coordinating conjunctions. And if you're sitting there thinking, what is a fanboy? Or what's a coordinating conjunction? Maybe ask me when we have our questions on Thursday. I don't want to go into it too much in this video. But, yeah. Anyhow, let's move ahead. The other word I can use is, to join the two sentences, is but. Now, if I use but to join two sentences, I always use a comma. Okay, so I could say, John is very shy, comma, but he has a lot of friends. And if I say that, then, again, but can show that if this is true, this is unexpected. Good? And remember, when a but joins two sentences, John is very shy, that's one sentence. He has a lot of friends, that's another sentence. Whenever but joins two sentences, I want to use a comma. Okay? Sometimes if it's a short sentence, you'll see that an author won't use a comma, but you're always safe to use a comma if you join two sentences with but. Now, your book shows that you could say at the end here, anyway. And you can do that. I hope, okay. Let me try something here. Excuse me. Having to make some changes. I'm trying shooting this on my iPad rather than on my computer because I think I get better video quality on my iPad. It's newer than my computer. But the problem I'm finding is that it doesn't get my whole board, as easily. Okay, let me see what thumb down. Okay. Thank you for your patience. Okay, now, what was I going to say? Oh, so your book says, adds the word anyway at the end. And you can do that, but it's not necessary. If I say it without anyway, and I say, John is very shy, but he has a lot of friends, that shows that unexpected connection. If I add the word anyway, it makes it much clearer that there's an unexpected connection. So I can do both ways. This way is a much clearer, makes it very obvious that it's an unexpected connection. But you can use but alone, and that also is fine. So another way that your book shows is you could use but and then add the word still. Let me see. Let me use these same colors here. I could say, John is very shy, but he still has a lot of friends. works very much the same way as anyway in terms of its meaning. It has that, excuse me, it makes it a lot clearer, a lot stronger that yes, this is unexpected. Again, I don't have to say still, but if you want to be very clear, this is unexpected, you can do that. Now, what else do I have? Oh, so something else you might want to notice here. Anyway usually comes at the end of a clause. So anyway usually comes at the end. Still usually comes between the subject and the verb. Anyway comes at the end. Still usually comes between the subject and the verb. Okay. And then, there's one more word you can use that is the same family as but and and. But and and, same family. I could also use comma, yet. And yet can mean the same, yet can mean the same as but in English. However, it's not as common, it's pretty rare, and yet also has other meanings in English. So if this is the first time you've seen yet to mean but, that might be a little like, what? What's going on here? This may be the first time you've seen it because it's not that common. It's kind of old-fashioned, and formal. So it's more old-fashioned, it's more formal, but the word yet can mean the same as but. It can also mean before now, like John hasn't finished dinner yet. And that means John hasn't finished dinner before now. But that meaning of yet, completely different. Here, this meaning of yet means the same as but. And yet can also be used with anyway and with still. So I could say, John is very shy, yet he has a lot of friends anyway. Yet he has a lot of friends anyway. And I could also say, John is very shy, comma, yet he still has a lot of friends. Oops, I wanted to write that in purple. But, oh, excuse me. But I think you got it. Well, actually, let me write it in purple. So, he still has a lot of friends. So, I can use anyway and still with both but and yet. And they mean the same. But and yet mean exactly the same thing, but yet is a little more more old-fashioned and it's more formal. Okay, and both of those can show if this is true, then this is unexpected. All right. Next thing. Okay. Okay, so John is very shy. He has a lot of friends. Well, John is very shy. He has a lot of friends. Another word that can be used to show that this is unexpected is, I'm going to write them here first. Nevertheless, let's just do nevertheless first. Nevertheless is a member of the same family of words as therefore. And so nevertheless and therefore follow the same rules. The rule, your book calls them transitions. Remember that therefore cannot join sentences. And so, nevertheless, member of the same family, nevertheless also cannot join sentences. So that's important to know. So I say, oh, okay, nevertheless does not join sentences. So I have two choices with this. I could say, and I think I'm going to have to write small here, John is very shy, period. Notice I'm keeping the period. Nevertheless, comma, small here. So notice, with nevertheless, I don't join the sentences together. I keep the period, okay? Nevertheless cannot join sentences together. So I'll start with a capital letter on nevertheless, and then usually with nevertheless, like therefore, usually like therefore, usually when I use it, put a comma after it if it comes at the beginning, okay? However, can often come in different places in the sentence. Nevertheless can, but it usually comes at the beginning of the sentence. And so I'm just going to put it at the beginning. Now, I hope you can read that. Also true is, remember that we said with therefore cannot join sentences together. But I can use one of these, a semicolon, to join two sentences together. So nevertheless cannot join these sentences, but if I want them to be one sentence, then I can get rid of the period, and I get rid of the capital N, and I will put, let me put this in a semicolon. Well, actually, let me use a different color, and I want this to be really clear. So I can put semicolon. Let me check on the video, is that clear? Yeah. John is very shy, semicolon, small n. Nevertheless, he has a lot of friends. And that is also fine. So with nevertheless, I can either keep them two separate sentences, or I can join them with a semicolon. Both ways are good. Okay? All right. Now, there's one more word that's the same family that we can use to show that that this is an unexpected result. I could also say, however. So I could say, John is very shy. If I want to use a semicolon, I could put semicolon, and then, let me make this blank. However, he has a lot of friends. John is very shy, semicolon. However, he has a lot of friends. Now, however, if I want to, let me back up. However, we're going to see can have another use besides showing that something is unexpected. And so, however can show it's unexpected, and if I say, John is very shy, semicolon, however, comma, he has a lot of friends, that is fine, but you can also use the words still and anyway with however, if you want to make it really, really clear that this is unexpected. So remember, still, if I wanted to, I could put here. And I could say, John is very shy, semicolon, however, comma, he still, oops. Remember, however comes between subject and the verb, so I could say, however, he still has a lot of friends. And that makes it even clearer that, okay, yes, this is unexpected. You don't need it, but it makes it clearer. I could also say, John is very shy, John is very shy, semicolon, however, comma, he has a lot of friends anyway, period. So I could put still between the subject and the verb, or I could put anyway at the end. And again, those make it more clear. Those make it clearer that this is unexpected. This connection is one that shows this is unexpected. Okay. Now, one more. Oh, last group of words. So, now, there are some prepositions that show that something is unexpected. So I could say, oh, okay. So, well, actually, let me back up, okay? Now, remember when I have a preposition, remember, prepositions are short words. Whenever I have a noun in a sentence that's not a subject, and it's not a it's not a subject, and it's not an object, then I need a preposition. So I could, let me see. So I could say, let me see. John ate dinner, and then in the kitchen. So here I look at this sentence and I say, oh, what's the verb in this sentence? Okay, so it's ate. John ate dinner. Now, what's the subject? It's John. And if you took 110C, then you know that dinner, also a noun, is the object. So a noun in English can be a subject or an object. It can do the action or it can receive the action. Now, here, kitchen, also a noun. So, here kitchen is a noun, but it's not the subject of a verb and it's not the object of a verb. So, oops, 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 oops. That should be in. Excuse me, I hope I didn't confuse you. John ate dinner in the kitchen. So whenever a noun comes after, is not the subject or a verb in the English, I need a preposition. So here I could say preposition plus noun. So one of the things that you want to remember is whenever I use a preposition like in, on, by, for, near, I will always have a noun or a pronoun like him or her after it. Now, some prepositions in English can show this is unexpected. So what are those prepositions? Those are despite and in spite of. Okay? In spite of, not really a preposition, but of is a preposition. So in spite of is a phrase that works like a preposition because it ends in a preposition. Now, because despite and in spite of are prepositions, then they have to be followed by a noun. So I could say maybe the cold, and I could say, oh, despite the cold, I didn't wear a jacket. Or I could say, in spite of the cold, I didn't wear a jacket. So, despite the cold, then unexpected, I didn't wear a jacket. Or in spite of the cold, then unexpected, I didn't wear a jacket. So I'll always use despite or in spite of plus a noun. Here, let's look at this sentence. John is very shy. So I might say, Is there a noun I can use here? Take a minute and see if you can think of one. Do you know the noun for shy? Do you know the noun that we use for shy? Take a minute and think. If you don't, I'll tell you in just a second. Okay, now I'll tell you. I could use shyness. Shyness is the noun form of shy. So here, who is shy? Well, it's John, so I could say his shyness. So I could also say here, I don't use these with the subject verb, I just have a noun. So I could say, despite his shyness, and let's change this to John so the listener knows who we're talking about. Despite his shyness, John has a lot of friends. Well, let's get rid of that. Okay? Or I could say, in spite of his shyness, John has a lot of friends. These two mean the same thing, and they work exactly the same way. You can use either one, it will mean the same, they will work the same. Now, these prepositions can come at the beginning, or they can come at the end. I could say, despite his shyness, John has a lot of friends. Let me move over here so you can see. I can say, despite his shyness, John has a lot of friends. Or I can switch them and say, John has a lot of friends despite his shyness. Both are good. Okay. Let's see, is that all? Oh. Your book gives two more options. Your book says, let me erase here. Your book says, in spite of the fact that, or I'm having trouble writing today. So your book says you can use these plus subject plus verb. So I could say, now, actually, I'm not going to talk too much about that because what I really want to tell you about this is, don't use them, even though your book says it. Let me tell you why. One of the things that I believe about good writing is you don't want to use more words than you need to. If you can be clear with a few words, or you can be clear with one word, use one word. Don't use many words. And it will make your writing clearer and easier for your reader to follow. Here, in spite of the fact that, and despite the fact that, you'll hear Americans say them, but really, all you need to say here is even though, or although. They mean the same as these. And even though has two words, although is one word, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words. So I was always taught that this is bad writing because it just uses more words than you need to say. If you want to say in spite of the fact that, say although. That's my opinion. Your book says something different. So, but that's my suggestion. And I think that's where we'll end this.